Thank you very much, Kyla. Okay. So, ayan, for those of you who don't have your modules yet, pakikuha na po sa school ang inyong mga modules so you can start answering. This will be submitted on December 10. So, if, for example, Navin, what's the reason why you don't have your module yet?
I don't know, but I have math here, I have DLE, I have everything. Pero science teacher wala.
Oh. Wait lang. Can you give me a thumbs up for those students who already have this module? Oh, okay. So I think most of you don't have this printed module yet. So okay, sige. I will discuss how to answer the module, and then if you will be getting it on Thursday, then you can just answer it on Thursday and then submit it on January. Okay? Pero piece of advice, when you get it on Thursday or on Friday, answer the module as soon as you can. Kasi I think if you're going to wait until January, by that time you have already forgotten yung topic or how to do it. So better to do it as early as you can. Okay? So this is the topic of locating epicenters. Now, geologists or the scientists who actually studies the Earth, they are called geologists. But the specific geologists who studies about earthquakes are called as seismologists. So the reason why they're called seismologists is because they focus on seismic activities. And seismic activities refer to the movement of the ground. So kasama dyan yung ating earthquakes. Okay? And you have to remember that when earthquakes happen, they don't just happen in one area. People can experience earthquakes in several areas or different areas. So how do scientists identify or locate the epicenter of an earthquake? So for example, the earthquake is experienced in Pampanga, in Bataan, in Subic, and in Tarlac. So we have 4 areas who are experiencing the earthquakes. So how can we identify where is the epicenter or where is the origin of this earthquake? So the process that scientists do in order to find the origin or the epicenter of an earthquake is through a process that they call as triangulation. So when we say triangulation, ibig sabihin, we are going to gather data in 3 areas and we are going to find among these 3 areas which is nearer from the epicenter of the earthquake. Okay? So that's why in your module, what you will be seeing is that there are 3 areas: location A, location B, and location C. And they're going to compare the seismic activity that is recorded for these 3 areas. Okay? So that's why there's location A, B, and C here. Now, when it comes to earthquakes, we also have what we call as your P wave and an S wave. So the primary wave or the P wave is the first wave that people experience. So the P wave is usually a movement horizontally. Okay. So because the movement is horizontally, hindi natin siya masyadong nararamdaman. Okay? Because there are always movements or vibrations in our Earth. So for example, may dumaan na bus or may dumaan na 10-wheeler truck, so it will cause the ground to vibrate. So very common sa atin that we are experiencing or we are feeling out the vibrations of the ground. So hindi natin masyadong pansin or we are not as perceptive to P waves. So, hindi natin alam, nagsimula na pala yung earthquake, hindi pa natin siya nararamdaman. Okay? So, kailan natin nararamdaman yung earthquakes? Usually, we experience or we feel the earthquake pag dumating na yung tinatawag nating S-wave. So, the S-wave is the secondary wave. And the secondary wave is a vertical movement. So, pataas na yung kanyang movement. So, mas nararamdaman na natin yun kasi hindi normal yung movement ng ground na pataas and baba. So, pag nagkaroon na ng, or dumating na yung S-wave, ito na yung usual time where we are actually feeling or experiencing the earthquake or the movement na nararamdaman natin. Okay? So, what seismologists do is that they check the time kung kailan nagkaroon ng kung kailan dumating or nag-arrive yung P wave at yung time kung kailan dumating yung S wave. And they use a tool. Meron silang ginagamit to record the seismograph. They use it to record the vibrations of the earth. Okay? So if you will see here, in the example in your module, you have 3 locations and they have different times kung saan nag-arrive yung P wave. And they have different times where the S wave actually arrived. So you are going to record gaano katagal before dumating yung P wave at gaano katagal bago dumating yung S wave. Okay? So I'm not going to answer this kasi this is your module. So I have an example here. This is location number 1. This is location number 1. This is in Pasadena. This is location number 2. I think this is in Dallas. And then another location number 3. Okay? So, here, ito yung time niya. So, for example, if the P wave started arriving here, so more or less it is around 40 seconds. In your actual module, naka per minute siya. So, each line here is actually a 1 minute. So, for example, meron bang... Okay, wala. Wala akong makitang... Ayun. Spotlight. Okay. So, for example, this is 1 minute. Ay, gumalaw siya. Wait lang. Ayoko na nga. So, for example, this is 1 minute, this first line here. Pero yung P-wave kasi, dumating siya, first niyang dumating dito on this spot. Okay? Mag-annotate na nga lang ako. Okay. So, your P-wave, ba't ayaw? Ayoko na. Bakit ayaw? Kala natin. So, your P-wave started here. Gumagalaw siya. Okay, so your P-wave started here and this is past 1 minute. So, most likely, your P-wave arrived after 1 minute and 30 seconds kasi medyo nasa gitna siya. So, what you're going to do is you're going to write that in your table. So, the time of arrival of the P wave in location letter A. So, for example, 1 minute and 30 seconds or 90 seconds if you want. Okay? And then, you're going to do the same in location letter B. So, you're going to check. So, this is 1 minute. The first line is 1 minute. The second line is 2 minutes. So, the arrival of the P wave is in between 2 minutes and 3 minutes. So, bahala na kayong i-record if it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, if it's 2 minutes and 25 seconds, kung paano nyo siya i-estimate. Kung nasa gitna ba siya, mas malapit ba siya sa 2 minutes, mas malapit ba siya sa 3 minutes. So, double check nyo na lang kung saan yung arrival ng ating P wave sa location letter B. And then the same, yung arrival ng P wave in location letter C. So this is 0 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Pero wala siya sa gitna ng 4 minutes. So isusulat niyo yung time of arrival sa location letter C ng P wave. And then you're going to do the same for the S wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ang arrival niya is 5 minutes and how many seconds? Pagdating sa location B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes and how many seconds? Pagdating sa location C, ganun din. And then you are going to record it here. After you have recorded the arrival of the P wave and the arrival of the S wave, you're going to subtract them. So the third column here says the difference in time between the P wave and the S wave. So you're going to subtract them. Okay? Usually, mas malaki ang or mas late yung arrival ng S wave. Nauuna talaga ang P wave. Okay? So wag kayong magtataka kung 5 minus 10 yan. Ganun talaga. Okay? And then, once you have identified the difference, you're going to plot them in this graph. Okay? So, on this part is the distance to the epicenter, the horizontal or the x-axis. And then the y-axis is the time in which it arrived. Sana pwede na ako mag-draw. So, the first one, location A, let's say for example, ang kanyang arrival or the difference between the P and S wave is 5 minutes. So, nandito siya. So, once you reach this graph, bababa ka ngayon. Di ba may line to? Nakikita nyo yung line? Okay? So, pag na-reach niya na tong line na to, that's when it will start to go down. So, you can identify the location or the distance between the location A and the epicenter. Sensya na ha, yung drawing pad ko ginagamit ni Teacher Lera. So, for example, this is the location for this is the distance for location A. So, this is location A. So, ibig sabihin, it is 3,400 kilometers away from the epicenter. Okay? And then, for example, we have location B. For example, in location B, ang kanyang distance or the difference between the P and the S wave is 3.5 minutes. So somewhere around here. So again, wait nyo siya until it reaches this curve. And then from that curve, it's gonna go down. So you can identify the location of or the distance between location B. So most likely, we can say that location B is 2,300 kilometers from the epicenter. And then, you're going to do the last one. For example, in location C, we have around 7.8 minutes. So, for example, this is the location here. Again, wait for the curve before you can actually go down. And then, you can say that location C is around 4,900 kilometers away from the epicenter. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag nating triangulation. So, between these three locations, saan pinakamalapit yung epicenter natin? Can anybody tell me? Saan? Location A, location B, or location C? Saan pinakamalapit yung epicenter?
B?
Yes. Okay. So, it's most likely located in location B. Okay. So, doon nila na-identify yung ating epicenter. Okay. So, you're going to do that and you're going to identify. I only use that as an example ha. So, wag nating, anong tawag dito? Wag ninyong iisipin na letter B na agad yung sagot. Okay? So, ayan yung difference between the y-axis and the x-axis. And then you're going to identify the distance ng ating location from the epicenter. And then from there, you are able to answer which of the locations is nearest the epicenter, which is the farthest from the epicenter, and which location would experience the weakest and the strongest movement or vibrations based on their distance from the epicenter. Of course, areas nearer the epicenter will experience stronger earthquakes, whereas the locations that is farther away from your epicenters will experience earthquakes that will have weaker intensities. Okay? Do we have a question on how we are